cross-market learnings, and first-mover strategies.
Um, my name is Guilherme. I'm the head of business development for OddsGate. And here I've got 4 industry leaders where we're going to be talking about a very hot topic, especially in an industry so dynamic as ours, which is cross-learning and also first-mover advantage and strategies. So before we go into the topic, I would like to give the time to introduce yourselves.
So my name is Mike de Graaff. I am the co-founder and chief compliance officer of BetComply, which specializes in regulatory and technical compliance in any license and jurisdiction.
Perfect.
Good morning. I'm Maurizio Soccodato from Global Lab. We are a testing lab. We are present around in 70 jurisdictions around the world, and we are working for the certification in many countries.
Hello,
Perfect.
good morning, everyone. My name is Giusy Campo, and I work for Groovetech, which is an aggregator operating worldwide, regulated and .com.
Hey, I'm Nikolay Georgiev, Audit and Regulations Director for EGT Digital. We are a leading B2B platform and casino aggregator provider.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you. So, guys, let's just go straight in. I would like to firstly start with Mike, actually. Of course, I would like to have the insights from all of you. And my first question is, what strategies are required to gain the first mover advantage when entering a new market? Very hot topic. What do you think, Mike?
Sure. So first mover advantage you can define in a few ways. So I think I want to switch that a little bit into what you should not do, in my opinion.
Yep.
Because what we have seen in recent openings of markets like the Netherlands, like Brazil, is I don't want to use bad words, but it's sometimes a bit of a mess.
It's difficult, yeah.
Yes. So when it comes to first mover strategies, what we often see is that you receive the license, which is, okay, we got the license, now we can go into the market, and we start fully penetrating the market and basically messing it up for ourselves. Because when a market opens in terms of licensing, a lot of our industry friends and all of our licensees think, okay, now we can enter the market, they trust us, let's do this. But we always start from a place of distrust. The politicians, the public, they don't trust the industry. You need to prove yourself. So when we are penetrating the market fully, doing aggressive marketing, non-compliant platforms or strategies, to gain market share as fast as possible,
Yep.
then that turns into more restrictions, more tax burden, and an even worse public opinion of the industry as a whole. So that would be my take on it.
Yeah.
In my case, I give you the view from the testing lab, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's really important for us to explain to the client that before going in the market, make a very good strategy, because sometimes what's happening is that, let's say, providers,
Yep.
they start to say, we want to certify all the games, let's say. The point is that after they realize that there are a lot of things on the back, let's say security, ISMS, RGS, and other things. So it's very important to be prepared before starting in the market.
Yeah.
That for me is crucial, because otherwise you're wasting a lot of money and time.
Of course.
Yeah,
of
I
course.
think a very good example of that might be the UK framework. So you get your software supplier license, for example. You have the license, let's go in. And then you find out you have to do an annual security audit, almost ISO-like, you have to do it every year. If you don't start with that in the back of your mind, you're going to get caught by surprise.
And there is also another point, really important. In some cases, let's see, for example, Peru.
Yeah.
Peru, after that you are certified, that you start, they request to be certified the RGS. So many companies are not ready, and so they have a big problems, because after what they do, they need to certify, go in a hurry to certify the RGS, and after they can go again on the market. So it's very important to be ready, not only for the specific things that is a requirement of the regulation, but ready in general as a company.
Yeah, and I think the key takeaway from that is like to be flexible and resilient, like to expect delays, to expect, changes in the process, which will then like help you with the go-to-market strategy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Juicy,
to
please.
endorse also what Maurice said, everyone thinks that it's just about licensing when you enter a new market. But then after you apply for the license, right after there is the certification,
Yeah.
and most of the people, they are not very knowledgeable on that. So they have to make sure, depending on the business that they have, maybe they are a B2B or a B2C, that they have to go through, and it's mandatory to get those type of certification, depending on the market that they want to enter.
Of course. Actually, you touched on a very good point, Juicy. I actually would like to explore that a little bit more. I know you have a lot of experience in B2B and also B2C. So I would like to know more about the certification itself. As Maurizio and Mike mentioned, is a very important step to be ready. Regulatory measures need to be taken in consideration when entering a new market. I know you have a lot of experience. I'd like you to share a little bit more about the certificates and how you would play it if you want to move into a new market.
Yes, sure. So there are different type of certifications depending on the nature of the business that you have.
Okay.
You can be a B2B or a B2C. So depending on that, you have to go through a specific certification process. Maybe you are a B2B, so definitely you have to certify all the product that you have developed it. Or if you are a B2C, most of the time you have to take care of the integration process.
Yeah.
And of course, there are different type of certifications depending on the products. Maybe you develop a games, so in that case you have to certify the RNG and the game.
Yeah.
If you have a platform, you have to certify the platform, and you have to test those products on the functionality side, but also on the security side. So you have to go through ISMS audit, so Information Security Management System, or penetration testing depending on the market, because every market, they have their own regulations, their own technical requirements. So sometimes people think that there is just one general certification that you can use worldwide, but unfortunately it's not like that.
That would be a dream. That would be a dream.
That would be a dream.
So it would make our job so much easier, wouldn't it?
Yes. So after 7 years, I have worked for GLI for 7 years. That gave me a lot of background and knowledge about technical requirement regulations. And now recently moved to Groovetech, which is an aggregator. And also as aggregator, you have to go through specific testing. But most of the time for aggregator is ISMS audit, the only certification they have to go through in most of the regulated markets. And of course, .com, you don't really need certifications unless you still want to be compliant. You maybe want to test that your product they can go through a certification. Then that could be a good manner to actually. And personally, I experienced most of the certifications, of course, when I was in GLI. And now Groovetech, indeed, as an aggregator, is going through all certification because we are both in .com and regulated markets.
Amazing, amazing. I've got a personal question, actually. Which one do you think is harder, B2B or B2C regulatory framework?
That's a good question. And in my opinion, the B2B side, they have more work to do.
Okay, yeah.
I can absolutely agree to that. Like from B2B perspective,
there
are so many other things that you can, consider, as you've mentioned, because a lot of people are focusing on the product certification, not actually on the additional stuff like VMP, ISMS. Some countries have like change management afterwards that has to be recertified. So there's so many other things than for B2C, at least from my point of view. I totally agree with that.
Yeah. B2C, of course, they are the ones who apply for the license, and they are the ones who risk the license.
Of course.
So they have to make sure that, all the certifications are in place from the B2B side.
Yeah.
But still, most of the work from certification point of view is made by the B2B.
Okay, nice, nice. Maurizio, want to add anything?
There is another point, for me very important, that we usually see in many situations during the interview with the client. They come to us and tell us, okay, we need to do this, this, and this. And sometimes it's not correct. So my question is usually, why you are telling me this? You need to do this, this, and this, not the other things. Who tell you this? How you know this? No, because our client told this. And it's not correct. Because to be safe, let's say, you need to have your confirmation sometimes, if it's possible, from the regulators, not from the clients.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you think that you are ready, but after, when you start the process of certification, you are not ready.
Correct.
So, and you're wasting time.
You're wasting their time, you're wasting your time. Is very complicated. And as we know, time is money, right? So it's a very good point, Maurizio. It's a very good point.
Yeah, speaking of wasting time when it comes to certification, what we often see when we work with labs or with clients is that they first go to the lab. I need a certificate for this because I have a license. I need a certificate. And then you give them the requirements or the process, and then they start asking the questions, like almost asking for consultation by the lab, which the lab cannot do, right? So if you have, for example, the license, but then you need to certify, you go to the lab unprepared, you try to get information from them, then you go to a lawyer trying to get their information, and then you're not prepared in terms of information, then you are rushing the development, you might not pass the certification, you're losing months, you're losing a lot of euros in the process. Which I think that the line between certification and consulting is, at least from the client side, often very blurry, right?
Yeah.
There is a phrase, be ready and find a good compliance manager.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I was about to say. Having a good compliance manager, a director into your company
is a good investment.
It's a key. It's because it's less headache when you are prepared.
I've got a question actually. Would you hire a compliance manager locally, like the market trying to enter, or would you rather get someone that has experience in other markets and bring that to the project?
Well, if you're asking a compliance consultant or someone that runs a compliance consultancy company, I would always say go to someone that has expertise in all of it. So I would not be the guy to ask, because it will be a PR talk right here.
What about you guys? What do you think?
Absolutely, I agree. Like, better have someone with like vast experience and knowledge in a lot of other jurisdictions, because that will help a lot. Even in new markets that are opening up, they're looking from, already established regulations. So yeah, much better, definitely.
And also the connections, right? Because Mike, I'm sure you've been in the industry for such a long time. The network you have, even if you don't have the information, you can always consult. And someone new coming to the industry, even if it's from that particular market, won't have that type of connections. What do you guys think about that?
Well, yeah, the connections is a big thing. But quick on the previous thing is that when it comes to experience, when new markets open, there is no experience, right? So everyone is new to the game. So in terms of what the action, because no one has been through the process before. So in that sense, I always joke with my team saying, if the moon starts regulating, we will consult and get people licensed there. Because I think if a good in-house compliance manager or really good compliance consultancy business can do any jurisdiction anywhere because of the expertise that has been gained beforehand.
Okay, please.
Just another note. It's not everything's easy, for sure, because the main problem is that sometimes even the testing lab are not communicating with the regulatory. So it's a big problem even for us, that we are the front end for the client. So it's something that in this case many regulators are trying to helping us, because they need to have some feedback from us in many cases. And this is good because in this way is a win-win situation where we can receive from them information and clarification. In some cases, they don't have clarification. So we need to use our approach of ISO in terms of how managing situations that are not clear.
Okay. Yeah, makes complete sense. I've got a question I'll actually try to address to Nikolay, actually. We work in such a dynamic industry. There's so many opportunities, so many new markets going on. But of course, when you move to a new market, there's new strategies, and always there are challenges, right? There's a lot of challenges, things go wrong. What do you think? What could be the potential things an operator, B2C, B2B, when going to new markets? What could they face?
Well, I believe that's licensing, at least like based on my experience. Everyone in our industry talks about like first mover advantage and stuff like that, but what we don't talk about enough is like how fragile that advantage can be if you have like licensing delays. 3, 6, 9 months. you can be, like, your go-to-market strategy can be ready, like, from tech perspective, reporting, you know, compliance manuals and process. But then if you have, like, I don't know, 6 months delay in the licensing process, that advantage just goes away in a second.
Yeah.
And, you know, regulators officially publish timelines sometimes, you know, 4, 5, 6 months, but, you know, that's in practice like aspirational. I mean, you know, that's very dependent on, like, I don't know, regulatory capacity, sometimes even political decisions.
Of
like,
course.
We've all been there waiting for that final secondary legislation, you know, coming up so we can get approved. But yeah, I mean, the main thing is unpredictability, like with regulators and licensing. That's based on my experience. I mean, we've seen jurisdictions like Netherlands and Sweden. They had like structured process,
Yeah.
but because of volume and thoroughness of the checks, everything got delayed. While on the other hand, Brazil and Ontario, like they engaged with the public, started public conversations very early, and that made a huge difference for everyone. But yeah, I mean, the key takeaway for me from all of these examples is like, you know, build your product, build your tech and compliance process flexible so you can expect delays, you can change things on the go, and that will save you like a lot of money, a lot of time, you know, months in the whole process. So yeah, being a first mover like today is not like who submits first, in my opinion. It's basically who anticipates delays best. That's why compliance teams that are built, you know, with flexibility and resilience, I think these are the actual first movers today in our world.
Yeah, and you speak of our knowledge because EGT operates in so many markets, and you've seen a lot, haven't you?
Absolutely.
You haven't seen a lot, I'm sure. What about you guys? What do you guys think?
Well, there are many topics that a company has to look at when they enter a new market. Not just about certifications or licensing. There are so many topics like responsible gaming, about advertising. There are so many topics that they have to make sure that they are compliant, that are in line with the market and the regulations that they want to enter. There are so many, there are a list of topics that they have to make sure in order to enter a new market. And of course, going back to the previous topic, when it's a new market, it's new for everyone. It's new for the regulator, it's new for the companies. So sometimes they read the regulations, and then after 1 or 2 months, there are things coming up. We talked before in the backstage, Brazil. The reporting last year was a nightmare for everyone.
It's complicated because, as Nikolay mentioned, like you're relying on the regulators and new regulation, even for the regulator itself. So it's a lot of new challenges, and I completely agree. What about you guys? What do you guys think?
In my case, I usually tell to the clients, don't hate compliance manager in your company, because they are trying to helping you to be ready for the market.
Of course.
They're there to keep you out of jail, to keep managers out.
Exactly. No, completely agree. Mike?
Yeah, I have to agree. Pay your compliance people well, treat them well, train them well, because they are more valuable to the company than sometimes even commercial teams can be, in my opinion.
Perfect. Maurizio, I think you mentioned a little bit about security, right? I'd like you to address a little bit of the other topics the companies or whatever going to a new market should be aware of. I know you have a lot of knowledge going to different markets, especially Brazil as well. As Giusy rightly mentioned, it was a bit of a headache, but it's getting better as we go. So I'd like to know a little bit about from you. What other topics should they be considered when entering a new market?
Topics, sorry?
Which topics? You mentioned security briefly. So I would like to know what else they should be aware of. So, for example, security is a big thing when it comes to compliance for the player and for the company. But what else? Is there any other way they should look at it when entering the market?
Obviously, it depends of if it's B2B or B2C. That's the main step.
Yeah.
After, if you are, in some cases, they share the same needs. So security is one of these.
Yeah.
In other cases is KYC for the B2C. Mainly. And for the side of the B2B, usually one of the main part is the RGS, because it's the core of your business.
Yeah.
So RGS and gaming certification for sure. But the focus for me is security, because security has a big impact in the company.
Yeah.
And that's for B2C and B2B. So don't consider security, oh my God, I need to do this, and this very expensive, and I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Because after, you will pay
Of course.
if you don't do a good security assessment.
It's a massive liability. It's a massive liability.
What I don't understand is that sometimes clients say, no, for this market I pay this, no, for security. For this market I pay another amount, no? And it's not the right way, because security is security.
Security, security, no matter where in the world.
And moreover, penetration test is manual. There is no security assessment with penetration tests automatically. That's something that we need to be sure that the client understands.
Perfect. Mike, have you got any?
Yeah, because I think one other thing that is often overlooked and causing a lot of problems is vault reporting, safe reporting. So if I take the example of the Netherlands, so for those that don't know how it works, so in some jurisdictions you need to report data either real time, near real time, daily, depends on the structure, which is basically a copy of some of the data in your database to an external vault that is accessible by the regulator, so that they can read the data, do research, etc. Now, just a few weeks ago, or maybe 2 months ago, in the Netherlands, the KSA published a report saying that every single licensee, none excluded, had issues with their CDB, with their safe reporting. Operators that have been operating for 5 years in the market now. Now, this is not just, okay, we have a data issue, let's fix it. If the data issue is big, it comes from mostly the area of, it is not gambling tech. Safe reporting is not gambling tech. It is very specialized tech. And if you mess that up, it's going to be insanely costly. And it's gonna create so many issues that you need not just, oh, let's fix the data. No, we need a whole team to do data corrections. We need to get external help in to fix it. At the same time, the regulator is pressing me because my data is not correct, and everyone starts panicking.
Yep.
And I think that a lot of that has to do with it not being gambling tech. Same with the security side. It's not gambling tech, it's specialist.
Of course.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like we see more and more from regulators that reporting, regulatory reporting is one of the most important things for them, if not the most important thing. Like more and more regulators require direct access to our database so they can, see the data from themselves, not only relying on the reports that we're sending on day-to-day basis. So yeah, that was definitely on point.
Perfect.
Cybersecurity in most of the regulated market is also a mandatory field. So going through an information security management system testing and audit and the penetration testing, it's mandatory in most of the regulated markets. So it's something that no one, unfortunately, can skip. So.
Yeah, of course, of course. Look, guys, before we move into the questions from the audience, I've got one final question. From your experience, which market has the most complicated regulatory framework they have encountered in the last few years?
Regulatory framework?
Yes.
Yeah, the Netherlands by far.
Okay, yeah. Maurizio?
Let's say that for us it's not a point of complicated. You need to be ready. So if you are already regulated in many other jurisdictions, another is just another topic.
Okay, I see.
Just to follow. It's not complicated. Sometimes the confusion is complicated with the money investment to be regulated and to be compliant.
Yep.
So that's the tricky. So
very good insight.
What I think is that it's not complicated regulation. The point is, are you ready for this? If you are not ready, it's for sure complicated.
Of course, of course. So it depends
so
a lot
easy.
on the operator or on the business itself, not necessarily on the license or the geolocation.
Compliance in general is a mentality.
Okay.
It's not just tick in the box, point, and that's it. It's a mentality. I'm coming from gaming industry. So the point is that when I move and I set up my testing lab, the main goal was to understanding the mentality to be compliant. that's the focus, that if the client understands this, after everything is not easy, but is something to do.
Yeah,
That's it.
you got the experience from the others, and
Yeah.
I like that. I like that quote. Compliance is a mentality.
It's a culture, mentality and culture.
And a mindset.
And a mindset. I like that. I like that. What about you guys?
But in my opinion, from a testing lamp point of view, there is no market which is more difficult than another. But from a B2B perspective or B2C perspective, definitely the technical requirements are different per market in the regulated ones. I would say Netherlands, definitely, I agree. Brazil maybe, and Greece. But let's be honest, if you go through GLN 19 and 33 standards, then you can go wherever. So
yeah.
I think 19 and 33 are the most difficult then, not as a specific market.
Okay, okay. Nikolay, what do you think?
Yeah, in terms of complexity, Netherlands for sure. I mean, but I would like to add something more on that because in terms of stuff that you need to be aware of, I would say Italy as well because of that, you know, constant changes in the regulation, the very complex communication protocol, the real-time data exchange with the regulator. That's that's something that's very painful for all of us, I'm sure.
And even Portugal.
Yeah.
Yes,
absolutely.
Even Portugal.
Yeah. Very difficult reporting system in Portugal with Serigi and everything. Amazing, guys. Right, I'd like to, with the QR code, guys, welcome any questions from the audience so our experts can answer and share the knowledge with you guys as well. So, let's see. But yeah, but regardless, I think...
Go ahead.
While we wait for the
Feel free.
while we wait for the questions to come in, I want to explain a little bit why I so quickly said Netherlands when it comes to regulatory.
Please.
So, and it comes back to the compliance mindset because that one is tested during the license application. Being the Netherlands is, as far as I know, the only country where if you want a license even to be considered for application, your responsible gaming policy becomes an addiction prevention policy that is not just written by you internally, but you have to collaborate with an addiction care clinic. You have to collaborate with an expert from experience, meaning a former gambling addict, and they have to actively advise on your policy. Now, if you come in for a tick box exercise, they will reject you straight from the door. If they notice that you have indeed the right intention to do this properly, then you can get those collaborations. And this is something that is so complex to manage in terms of connections and mentality that I think the success rate for the Netherlands is less than 25%, and most of it comes from people not being able to establish that.
Yep, perfect. Right, guys, I think we don't have any questions yet. Normally,
I guess it was very clear.
Exactly, that's exactly what I was going to say. Normally, we don't have any questions. I mean, that we cover all the topics and we shared all of your knowledge. So I would like to thank you, each one of you, for everything. And yeah, thank you guys for being in the audience and Sigma as always, of course.
There's one question.
Oh, we got one question. So, do strict KYC and restrictions ultimately strengthen or slow down sustainable market growth?
Oh, well, I think I want to separate those.
Okay.
Because KYC, ad restrictions. So ad restrictions, people that have seen me speaking in other places or read some of the stuff that I write know that I have a very strong opinion about that, about ad restrictions, which I think is mostly, it comes down to the industry being at fault for it.
Okay.
We have to blame ourselves for getting ad restrictions after regulated markets, and that does kill sustainable growth for a market because license operators need to be able to advertise.
Yeah.
But if we come in market penetration, aggressive, non-compliance, then a year later you get advertising restrictions, you cannot do it anymore, you basically killed it yourself.
Yeah, of course.
He explained it very well.
Oh, Mike.
Yeah.
Well done.
The same with strict KYC process. I mean, I think it can definitely strengthen your market growth. I mean, if you have like well-established process with the regulator, with the players, show the players that you care about them, carry out all of the required, EDD steps in the process, that will definitely grow the business.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I think, our jobs at the end of the day to make sure we create a safe environment for the end users in it. So that's all we do, and of course, sustainable growth, but always that in mind. Regulatory is there to protect. And I'm going to keep that quote. Regulatory is a mindset. I like that. I like that. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for all of you being here. And once again, thank you so much for you guys to share your knowledge and Sigma to invite us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.